How's it feel, Peg, to get for free what every other woman in Chicago has to pay for?
Every sitcom has bloopers. This one had a lost episode.
Go ahead, touch it, Peg. Touch the tush that set Chicago afire.
Married with Children shot a hotel room fiasco so far past the line, it went missing for a decade. Meanwhile, the mistakes piled up in plain sight. Those iconic opening credits? Borrowed footage. That emotional pregnancy arc? Wiped out overnight.
Is that money in your pants, or are you, well, let's face it. It could only be money.
There's another kind of green in my underwear now, Peg.
But the mess did something rare. It made the show bulletproof. Tonight we're pulling the tape on 20 behind-the-scenes screw-ups, stunts, and studio scares that turned a scrappy Fox experiment into a TV wrecking ball. Before Married with Children, Fox wasn't a network so much as a dare. It had no reputation, no loyal viewers, and only 2 real shows. This scrappy sitcom about a bitter shoe salesman and The Tracy Ullman Show, which quietly birthed The Simpsons. When Married with Children premiered on April 5th, 1987, executives expected mild curiosity at best. Instead, the pilot drew ratings so high they re-aired it the same night. The success shocked advertisers and proved Fox could compete with ABC, NBC, and CBS. It wasn't just the birth of a hit show, it was the moment a fourth network existed. Ironically, the show built on anti-family chaos became the foundation of family television for a brand new empire, the anti-Cosby blueprint. When creators Ron Levitt and Michael Moy pitched their series, they called it Not the Cosbys. At the time, America worshipped perfect TV families, polite dads, supportive moms, tidy living rooms. The writers wanted the opposite, a dad who hated work, a mom who hated chores, kids who weaponized laziness. The studio hesitated, fearing viewers would find it too mean, but test audiences laughed harder than they had in years. The contrast was electric. Married with Children didn't just mock domestic sitcoms, it detonated them. Fox loved the danger and doubled down, promoting the show as the family that puts the fun in dysfunctional. That tagline turned rebellion into marketing. The Stolen Skyline. The opening credits set the tone. Cars racing through Chicago while love and marriage crooned in Sinatra's voice. But the sweeping highway shot wasn't theirs. Fox's budget was microscopic, so editors borrowed footage from National Lampoon's Vacation, 1983. For 11 seasons, that same clip, and yes, the Griswold station wagon, rolled beneath the theme. What began as a quick placeholder became an accidental Easter egg. Proof that even the intro carried the show's DNA. Cheap, rebellious, and shamelessly resourceful. Fox had its breakout family and a new identity, but the real madness started when they tried to cast it. Because in true Bundy fashion, even success began with a mistake. Ed O'Neill won the role with a single sigh. Casting for Al Bundy was a circus. Hundreds of actors tried to nail the tone. Bitter but lovable, lazy yet magnetic. Then Ed O'Neill walked in. He didn't deliver the lines, he performed a sigh. He stepped through the door of the mock Bundy house, slouched, exhaled like a man who'd lost every argument and every dream, then muttered a flat, "Honey, I'm home." The room went silent. That single gesture sold the entire series. Producers later said, that sigh was the whole show. In that one breath, O'Neill embodied the American working-class exhaustion the writers had built their comedy around. The hero who doesn't win, but keeps clocking in anyway. Michael Richards was almost Al. Before becoming Kramer on Seinfeld, Michael Richards nearly became Al Bundy. Casting director Mark Hirschfeld liked Richards' manic energy but feared it would turn the lead from deadpan to cartoon. Richards didn't get the role, but Hirschfeld remembered him. 2 years later, when NBC greenlit Seinfeld, Hirschfeld suggested the same wild actor for the neighbor who'd burst into rooms uninvited. One rejection birthed 2 TV legends. Imagine if Richards had played Bundy, Seinfeld might never have existed. Sam Kinison brought strippers to set. Comedian Sam Kinison was another early name for Al Bundy. The producers loved his chaos until they realized they'd never survive a week of it. He later guest starred as a guardian angel version of Al in season 8 and made an entrance no one forgot. Kinison rolled in with a handful of strippers and insisted they serve lunch to the crew. No script, no warning, just glitter, heels, and pure Kinison. It summed up the show's spirit perfectly. Rude, loud, absolutely unfiltered. That day, the crew joked that the No Ma'am Club has officially catered lunch. Peggy Bundy's hair won the audition. Katie Sagal wanted Peggy so badly, she came to the audition dressed as Peggy. Tight skirt, high heels, and a towering red wig she'd styled herself. When she walked in, producers burst out laughing. "That's her! One said instantly. Seagal's visual boldness created an icon before the pilot was even shot. The leopard prints, the lipstick, the lazy smirk, all hers. Years later, she admitted, "I didn't have the job yet, but I wasn't leaving without it." It worked. The wig became a sitcom trademark, and Peggy Bundy was born. Every casting choice changed television history. If you had to choose who fits Al Bundy better, Ed O'Neill's weary sigh, Michael Richards' chaos, or Sam Kinnison's madness, drop your pick in the comments, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. With the cast locked and the wigs teased high, the show finally rolled cameras. But the chaos didn't end there, because what happened on set sometimes out-crazied the scripts themselves. Peggy Bundy's pregnancy that vanished. In 1991, Katie Seagal's real-life pregnancy became a storyline. Both Peggy and neighbor Marcy were written as expecting. The writers leaned into it, milking every Bundy-style joke imaginable, until tragedy struck. Seagal suffered a stillbirth mid-season. Production stopped cold. Out of respect, the team rewrote the show, so Al Bundy simply woke up and realized it had all been a dream. One cut erased months of episodes. For a series built on insult comedy, it was a shockingly human moment. Behind the wig and sarcasm was a crew mourning with their co-star. It was also the first time the audience glimpsed the real cost of all that laughter. Pain tucked just off camera. The episode Too Dirty for television. I'll See You in Court was supposed to air in 1989. The story follows Al and Peggy, who get secretly recorded during a night at a motel, and then decide to take the motel to court. Even by Bundy standards, it went too far. Fox executives pulled it, terrified of FCC complaints. Fans heard rumors of a lost episode that the network refused to admit existed. For 13 years, the episode stayed locked away, until cable TV finally aired an edited version in 2002. By then, it had become TV folklore, proof that Married with Children could out-offend itself. When viewers finally saw it, they laughed at how tame it looked by modern standards. The forbidden fruit had rotted into nostalgia. The boycott that made them famous. The year was 1989. Michigan housewife Terry Ricolta watched an episode where Al Bundy went lingerie shopping and called it obscene. She launched a national boycott. Sponsors bailed. Fox panicked, but the headlines turned the show into forbidden TV. Viewership exploded as curious audiences tuned in just to see what was so scandalous. The writers leaned harder into the raunch, practically daring their critics to keep watching. Ricolta tried to cancel the Bundys, and accidentally made them immortal. Decades later, producers still thank her for the free advertising, the million-dollar sitcom that barely profited. By the mid-1990s, Married with Children was one of television's most expensive half-hours. Each episode cost close to $1 million to shoot. Sets, union crews, guest stars, rewrites, reshoots. Fox loved the ratings, but groaned at the math. The show ran 11 seasons, yet profit margins stayed slim. One exec joked, "Al Bundy's salary is the only thing in America that never goes up." The irony fit perfectly. A sitcom about struggling to get by was itself barely breaking even. Cancelled without a goodbye. After 11 seasons, the studio finally pulled the plug and forgot to tell the cast. Christina Applegate found out from a fan at a baseball game. Ed O'Neill read about it in the paper. No wrap party, no finale meeting, nothing. Just silence. For a series that helped build the entire Fox network, it was a heartbreakingly Bundy ending. Abrupt, awkward, and a little insulting. Yet O'Neill later shrugged, saying, "That's Al's luck, isn't it?" Maybe it was fitting that TV's most dysfunctional family didn't get closure. They simply flipped the remote and disappeared mid-channel. The chaos off camera matched the chaos on it, but the storm was only starting. Because next came the culture wars, senators, censorship, and a legacy no one could erase. When Washington tried to cancel the Bundys. By the early 90s, Married with Children had survived fan boycotts and sponsor panic, but now politicians wanted a piece. Conservative Senator Jesse Helms called it trash TV, and Connecticut Senator Joe Lieberman slammed it publicly after his daughter caught an episode he thought was too explicit. The controversy was perfect publicity. Every insult from Capitol Hill made the show look edgier, cooler, untouchable. Fox didn't back off. They leaned in. The writers added even more jokes about outrage, practically winking at their critics. The show that started as anti-Cosby had become anti-everything, especially anyone trying to police comedy. Amanda Bears quietly made history. Amanda Bears, who played Marcy, was the uptight neighbor Al loved to insult, but behind the scenes, she was changing television. During the show's run, Bears came out publicly as gay, one of the first actresses on mainstream TV to do so. It was 1993, long before Hollywood embraced LGBTQ+ visibility. She didn't just act either. Bears directed over 30 episodes, guiding storylines and mentoring younger crew members. Even as Al's jokes mocked her on screen, off-screen she was building a legacy of courage and leadership that went far beyond punchlines. She later said, "I wanted to make the kind of show I'd want to work on." She did exactly that. The classiest theme song for the rudest family. That cheerful tune, Love and Marriage, gave the show an oddly wholesome opening. And that irony was deliberate. The producers wanted something painfully proper to contrast the chaos inside the Bundy house. They used Frank Sinatra's 1955 recording, and suddenly, the most vulgar sitcom on TV had the most elegant soundtrack in prime time. The lyrics about eternal romance rolled right into Al Bundy collapsing on his couch, already regretting his life choices. It was perfect satire. Decades later, people still can't hear Sinatra's voice without picturing Al, Peggy, and that ugly couch. No Emmys? Not even one. 11 seasons, millions of viewers, and not a single Emmy nomination. Critics dismissed Married with Children as crude and lowbrow. But while other family shows faded, the Bundys just kept airing week after week. The audience didn't need trophies. They had belly laughs and quotable lines. The irony is almost poetic. The show, mocking success and recognition, became one of TV's longest-running comedies without either. Its real award was survival. The Bundys didn't win gold statues, they won time. And time is what turned them into icons. By the time the credits rolled on that final season, the network thought it was done with the Bundys. But the world wasn't, because what came next proved that Al's misery and his legend would never really end. Ever. The Bundys went global. Married with Children wasn't just an American hit, it became a worldwide language of sarcasm. Dozens of countries created their own versions. From Argentina's Casados con Hijos to Germany's Hilfe, meine Family spinnt, and even Russia's Счастливы вместе. Each culture changed the details but kept the same heart. A tired dad, a loud wife, 2 disastrous kids, and no happy endings. Some remakes copied the original scripts word for word, others localized the jokes. But the rhythm stayed identical. The sigh, the couch, the insults. The humor that started in a Chicago living room somehow made perfect sense in Buenos Aires, Berlin, and Moscow. Dysfunction, it turns out, doesn't need translation. Bud Bundy tried to rap. While playing the awkward Bud on TV, actor David Faustino secretly built a second career as a rapper. He formed an alter ego named DeLil and even released a 1992 hip-hop album called Ballistics. Named after a nightclub he co-founded in Hollywood, the club became a hangout for young celebrities and underground artists. The album itself never charted. But the story became sitcom folklore. Fans loved that even off-screen, Bud Bundy was still hustling for attention and coming up just short. Years later, Faustino laughed about it, saying, "At least Al didn't try to dance in the video." Al Bundy's football brag was half true. 4 touchdowns in one game for Polk High wasn't just a joke. It was a reflection of Ed O'Neill's real life. Before acting, he played college football at Youngstown State University and was good enough to sign briefly with the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1969. He was cut before the season started, but that sting stayed with him. When the writers heard his story, they turned it into Al Bundy's obsession. Every time Al reminisced about his glory days, O'Neill was channeling his own. It made the character oddly real. The guy who once had potential, now stuck selling shoes and reliving one perfect afternoon. The reboot that died in 2025. In 2022, Sony Pictures announced an animated Married with Children revival. The entire original cast had agreed to return as voice actors. Fans imagined a new era of Bundy chaos without network censors. Then, nothing. For years, silence. Finally, in mid-2025, the project was officially shelved. No pilot, no teaser, no Bundy comeback. Studio insiders said simply, it's no longer in development. The reboot that could have been pure gold never made it past the pitch stage. For fans, it was the most Bundy ending possible. A big promise that never paid off, followed by a shrug and a sigh. But before we wrap, one last relic from the Bundy universe proves their legacy didn't just live on screen. It sat on your living room table. Yes, there really was a Married with Children board game. Released in the early 1990s, it challenged players to act like, think like, and be like a Bundy. The questions were ridiculous, the humor rude, and the packaging proudly advertised for adults only. It sold terribly, but today it's a prized collector's item. A few sealed boxes still pop up online for hundreds of dollars. Nothing sums up the Bundys better than that. A game no one was supposed to play, surviving decades longer than anyone expected. From stolen footage to lost episodes, from political outrage to international remakes, every wrong turn made Married with Children more unforgettable. But if you think the Bundys were wild, wait until you hear about the next show that built a network out of chaos. Click on the video on screen to see how another series survived scandal, censorship, and complete network panic. Drop a comment with your favorite Bundy quote, or the episode that made you laugh so hard you couldn't breathe. Hit like and don't forget to subscribe.